Hello, and thanks for joining me today on Window Shop, where we talk to industry professionals about, well, the film industry. Now, before we get to today's interview, make sure you hit that like button, make sure to subscribe, because only because of you, I can keep doing these types of videos. Now, let's welcome Z. Z, thanks everybody for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Perfect. So, tell us a little bit, what do you do, and how long have you been doing it for?
I work for the transport department in IATSE 873, and I've been doing it for about 8 years.
Nice. I'm sure that time has flown by very quickly.
It has very quickly.
Now, give us a little bit of a ballpark range as to what somebody in your specific field in the transport department might make in an average year.
In an average year, you can go upwards to about 140 to 150, but I would say the average is somewhere between 80 to 100, 110, depending on how much time you want to put into your job.
Now, when we're talking time, are we talking are we doing show after show after show? And are we talking like a lot of us will do 10 months a year? We'll try and take January, February off, or January, February becomes a little bit slower. Like, what does that kind of look like to be able to make that kind of income?
You do have to work show to show, and if you are doing unit moves, which I'll get into later, you are working sometimes one or two moves a day. So you are doing quite a bit of work to get that kind of money, but it all depends on what you are looking for. If you want to have a more of a family life, then you work a little bit less, but it is attainable.
So it really is a nice scale ability then where you have the option to work more and make more at the same time then.
100%. That was one of the reasons that I wanted to do this industry was because it is extremely flexible. So if you want to work a lot and make a lot of money, you can, but if you just want to make part-time job, also very easy.
Now, what attracted you to this part of the film industry specifically? Like, I imagine a lot of us don't necessarily know about how large the transport department actually is. And so, how did you, or what attracted you to this part in the first place?
Well, I was doing picture cars. I was driving picture cars first for Actra, and a friend of mine got me involved in this. Said, "Yeah, you could do this. Drive trucks, drive whatever it is on that needed for the shows." And started doing it. The hours were flexible, which is what I needed. So it was. I didn't know anything about the department, but once I got to know it, I was very happy for it and stuck with it. It's awesome.
Interesting. Do you need any type of particular schooling, training, or certificates or anything like that to be able to do your job?
Yeah, you do have to have a DZ or an AZ driver's license, so you got to go for schooling for that. I've had mine for 15 years prior to getting on, so for me it was an easy transition or an easy getting into the department because I've had the experience. But if you are new, you do need a DZ and an AZ, DZ or AZ, preferably licensed to get in.
Interesting. Do you need to do any like film school or schooling or anything like that outside of those licenses that you need to have?
Not for the transport department. The transport department is just strictly for driving. Just have to have clean abstract and clean driving records, no speeding. But besides that, as long as you have a clean record and you have your licenses, you are good to go.
What kind of vehicles do you get to drive with what you kind of do? I would imagine that there's a very wide range of vehicles. And yeah, can you just share a little bit of what are the vehicles you get to drive?
Usually, the ones that I drive are either straight trucks, 5 or 10 ton. There's also pickups, gator calls. Also, those are fun. You get to drive a ATV and you get paid for it, which is awesome. The other part that's nice is if you do get into what I was speaking earlier about picture cars, you get to drive a whole slew of vehicles. It could be from a regular car to a military ambulance, which I did. So there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of fun things you can do on the transport department.
Now, do you have a favorite vehicle that you liked outside of the picture car aspect of things, but more specifically in the transport? Do you have a favorite type of vehicle that you enjoy driving the most?
I would just do a regular truck, straight truck. They're awesome. They're easy to drive, and also, yeah, one more other thing that you should do is drive standard. Be able to drive a 10-speed standard. That is key because a lot of the calls have trucks that are standard. So double clutching is a must.
Interesting. How many people can even drive stick these days, do you find?
There are a few that can't, and when you are on a move and you can't, it causes a lot of problems. So that is definitely. I know you can get licenses for an AZ that's automatic, but you should definitely try to do a standard.
For a lot of us, a work-life balance is so important, and it's something that we struggle with so much of the time to try and find that family life as we get older, or just even as we're younger and we're just figuring out the industry. We can get really sucked in, and just like you said, you're working 12 months of the year, 100-hour work weeks and stuff like that. What does a work-life balance, or is there even a work-life balance for somebody in your field of the industry?
Well, for that's one of the reasons that I want to do this job is just because the work balance is very attainable if you choose it to be. I've taken holidays from this job and traveled to Europe many years for 4, 5 to 7, 8 weeks. And the day I come back, I make myself available the following day and I have a job. So if you,
That's awesome.
it is, it's very, very flexible if you choose it to be. If you plan it right, you are able to work whenever you want. And I was stunned and I still don't believe it, but I can be off for 3 weeks and make myself available for work. And if there's no strikes or anything like that, there is plenty of work for everybody and you get to call in, pick a job the next day or two and you're working.
Now, do you find that that is all year round, or is it seasonal, or is there busy seasons and stuff like that? It sounds great. It sounds awesome. Like but do you get that all year round, or yeah, is it seasonal?
No, it's not all year round. I would say from the time that I don't know how it was prior to me being in the union, but for the times that I have been in, there's usually, you got about a 6 to 7 month window where you can work if you want every day, sometimes twice a day. But after that, then you do get the days off sporadically. But for 6, 7 months out of the year, you can be working hard if you want to. Again,
Now, before you said that you are in a union. What union is that again? And what has been your experience so far in that union?
I'm an IATSE 873. I've been working as a permit for 6 years out of the 8 that I've been here. The other 2, just over 2, I've been a member. The experience has been awesome. I have no complaints at all. Plenty of work for the time I've been there what I needed and what I wanted. So I have nothing, all good things to say.
When we look at finding work, do you strictly go call the hall, or are there other ways that you find work in the transport department?
Well, the transport department is, there's a call system. As long as you make yourself available, they go down by the list, by seniority, and they call you every day. So every day by 6 p.m., you make yourself available for the following day. And then when there's something for you, they phone in. And like I said, during the busy seasons, they'll be calling you and asking you for 2 jobs per day. But yeah, I call in and make myself available. The other is through acquaintances that you know on shows that want to just hire you without the union calling you. They usually get hired and you're working on that show.
Fair. Now, does your work ethic play a part at all in being able to get work or to stay employed or stay busier than other people?
I believe it does. I think it's with any job. If you want to work and you do a good job, you'll be called in and hired. I think people always talk, and so as long as you're a good worker, you'll always have work. That's my belief.
Nice. Now, can you break down, like when we say transport, a lot of people might not necessarily know all the different departments within, or the different jobs within that department. Can you break down the different roles or responsibilities that you are aware of or that you have done before in the past?
Sure. So the main difference, there's 2 main driving positions. One is a unit mover, which you move movie sets, movie trucks from one location to another. That could be anywhere. The other one is when you are working with the department. So you can be working for set deck, electrics. There's also driving talent or other IATSE members from one location to another. Those are the main ones. The unit moves, again, most flexible. The other ones are mainly, you're there a few days, a week minimum, or the full week.
So, with that being said, how easy is it to change different positions or roles within the department, or jump between, being driving for a department, or driving for talent, or being a daily? How hard is that to be able to change or even increase your role? If you want to dedicate more time to this and move up the line, how easy or hard is that to be able to do?
So first you have to make sure you're a union member. That is the key. When you're a permit, you don't have that ability to be able to just pick and choose, just like with any job. At the beginning, you're working hard just as long as you get your time in. Once you become a union member, you have more options to choose the jobs that are offered to you. So they'll offer you either a shuttle move, or sorry, a shuttle driver, or a unit move, or working on a show for a department, and you can choose whichever one you take at that time. It's very easy. There is just you just choose which one you want to do that day. So there is no, it's not a hard thing to do. If you want to move up to be a different position, like a co-captain or a captain, that is, you have to you just have to work more on a show, get to know people, and show your skills that you can organize other drivers. You're a manager at that point, so you have to be able to manage people.
Now, is that something that you that you apply for like that or co-captain captain position, or is that just something that just like naturally happens? The longer you're in here, the more you're working, you just naturally get positions like that.
I think it happens naturally, but you do have to want to do that. So if you want to be a co-captain or captain or move up, you do have to try to help out the current captain or co-captain and show interest in that. And I know guys that have started with me that have moved up to co-captains and captains within 4 or 5 years of being in the union. So it is possible very quickly.
Now, is there any helpful advice you would give to anybody new coming into the industry, or pet peeves that you see new talent coming on in that are doing that you're just like, no, why are you doing that?
The biggest part is not listening to the captain or co-captain when they tell you which route to take. That makes a move instead of a 4 or 5 hour move into a 9 hour move. And at 3 in the morning on a rainy day, oh yeah, elements, if you're not a fan of elements, that's not, because sometimes it does rain and snow. But following the direction of what the captain tells you, because they've chosen a route to get to a certain place at a certain time in a certain order. And that's the biggest problem that people don't follow.
Your story I found very fascinating because you also have a bit of a side hustle as well as working full time in film. Tell us a little bit about what else you're also doing at the same time as working full time in film.
Yeah, so what I do, I'm a firefighter, full time, and the work balance that I'm doing, as I mentioned, that I am balancing a lot of work, but because the schedule in the fire department are 24-hour shifts, so I do have a lot of days that I'm off. I can work and keep this and the fire department. It's not been easy at times, but like I said, that's when I take my 5, 6, 7 week vacations. And sometimes I take a break from everything, but that's why I do those, because I can make that happen. So I'm very fortunate to be able to do that, and that's why I love this job.
So then, what would you say is the best part about your job then?
The people, like the walks of life that you meet on this job, from all departments, not just transfer, but you're working everywhere. Everyone has a very different story and different. The film industry, I think, brings a lot of different people together because there's so many different departments. So you just get to meet very, very fun people, and yeah, so far every show and job that I've been, I've had a blast. So yeah, that's one of the coolest things.
So thank you, Steve, for joining us. Hopefully you've learned a few things along the way, whether you're looking at doing a job transition in the film industry, whether you're just new to film in general and you're just curious. Hopefully this has been enlightening. Now, none of this would be possible without Make the Films, locally here in Toronto, for all your studio, camera grip, and lighting rentals. Check them out. They're going to take good care of you. Now, until next time, we're going to interview some more people. See you there.